Hello everyone, in this video I am going to teach you how to build a basic to-do app in React Native. So if you are a beginner in React Native, feel free to watch this video. I'll teach everything you need. So in this video we are going to build a basic to-do app so that you get familiar with React Native using the Expo obviously, because it makes the development much more smoother than bare React Native CLI. So in this video we will be building a to-do app similar to this, not exactly this, but yeah, the functionality will be the same. And for the UI component library we are going to use React Native Paper. So think of it as a Material UI, Satsian, or any other UI library that we have in React on the website obviously. And this is the UI library that is compatible with React Native, and we can use this library to play with pre-made component that you guys can see here. So without further ado, let's get started. So firstly we have to create a app, Expo app obviously. So I'll open my terminal here and let me just minimize this, and I'll create here a Expo app. So I'll write here yarn create Expo app, and I'll give the name of our project, that is node snap. Or if you are a npm user, you can just choose this. You can just run this command to get started. So I am using yarn in this video, so I'll be using this. So it will take a little bit of time to install, and I'll pause the video. Once the dependencies has been installed, I will resume the recording again. Okay, so the dependencies has been installed. Now we can go into this our project directory and open our Visual Studio Code. Now I'll just zoom this for you so that you guys can see better. And to start the project we can just write here yarn start, and obviously we will need a simulator. You can choose iOS, but I will be using Android in this series. So I'll open my virtual manager and I will start the device. Now this will take a little bit of time, so I'll just minimize this and resume. Okay, so this is working fine. Now we can just try opening in our Android device. So I'll press here A to open in Android simulator, and is recommended for install the recommended Expo Go version. So I'll write here Y to install the new latest Expo app, and it will take a little bit of time. Till then we can just minimize our screens so that we can code along. Yeah, so as you can see the project is opening, and yeah, the project has opened. Now we can to continue here and we can minimize this. Now there's a command that is reset project to get rid of everything that we have right now. So you can do here yarn run reset project. This will reset the project, and we have this here, and we can try reloading the app if we have the fresh installation. Yeah, so this is working. Now let's start building the UI. So I'll just zoom out this for you. Now we can try creating buttons that we have in this. So we need this button. Okay, so the project has been reset. Now we can start building our UI. So the very first thing is we need to create some sort of layout for the to-do application. So in this video I'll be using this. So now let's assume we have a to-do. So interface, we will have this to-do, and firstly we will have the ID, then we will have a text that is a string, and the GitHub Copilot is making our development process much smoother. As you can see, it is recommending us things. So we have this to do. Now we can define here a state that is to do's and set to do's, and we can use state. So we can import this, and by default we will have some to do's like const to do's, that is to do, and it will generate us some things, and by default we can paste this to do. Initial to do, we can copy this and paste this. Now we can try rendering this. So in website we have div in React, but in React Native you can think it of as a view. So in the view we will have a text, and we can have to do's, and we can see we have to do's. Now I'll remove this style that we have, and as you can see it is here. So now we can use here style set. Styles is equal to new style sheet dot create, and we can define our style sheets here. So in the style set we will have a container, that is container, and we can have a flex1 and background color to be this, and we can remove renew expression from here, and we can provide here our style, that is style equal to styles.container, and as you can see the background has become white now, as you can see. So now we can start implementing things. So firstly this is the to do container, so I'll write here to do container, and I will write here margin vertical, that is, let's suppose we have 5, and in the view we can apply this style, and we can also apply some padding. So I'll write here padding, and we can define it here 10, so this is also fine. Now for the style we can provide styles, we can define here to do header, and we can write here text size, sorry, that's font size, we can define a 24, font width to bold. Similarly we have nothing, and we can copy this and paste this here, and now as you can see we have this. Now let's start mapping our to-dos. So the very first thing is we have to-dos dot map to do, and we can have here a view, and inside the view we can pass here the key, that is the index. So I can write here to do dot id, and in that we can have here text, and in this we can grab the to do here. So as you can see it is getting rendered. Now we need to style this. So in order to do that let's create a components folder, that is components, and in the components folder we can have here to do card, or we can just simply write card.tsx, and we can create here a card. And for the React Native snippet we can write rnf, and as you can see we got by default these components, and for this we can start defining props, but as of now we will be refactoring it later. So just start styling this. So I'll just comment it here so that later on we refactor the code, it will be easier for us. So I'll write a to do card, and I'll write a to do card, and as you can see it's listed some codes like flex direction is set to row, and justify content is set to between, and everything is in center. We have some padding and some vertical margins so that this does not look close to each other. And similarly we have the background color and border radius so that it looks a little bit of curve. Now we can apply this. So we can write here to do card, and as you can see this does not look that good as of now. So we can write here to do card to do title. We can define here our styles here, and we can apply into this style dot to do title. Okay, now what we can do is we can define here our font size, and I think 18 looks fine, and for the font size it is good. We can also apply some bit of elevation so that it will have some sort of shadow. We can write here 2, and for the padding vertical we are going to provide 20, or instead of padding we can define here width, that is 100%, and for the height or for the width we can just define here, let's suppose 30%, and for the height we can define here 300, and let's see how it looks. So it does not look good at all. We can try reducing this. We can write here 50. This does not look good too. We can write here 80, and now we can apply some padding. So 10 is fine, and for this we can have 70%, and for the to do container we can write here align items to center. Okay, so this needs to be wrapped in string. Okay, so this looks fine. Okay, so okay, I won't gonna lie, this does not look fine. So let's remove this and remove this. This looks fine now. Let's make this padding horizontal, and for the padding vertical we can define here some large numbers to make it actually a little bit bigger. And now what do we have here, like to do card, and margin vertical is set to 2 loop, so I can write here 7 or 10. So 10 is fine, and now we can write here font weight to bold obviously, or we can write here semi bold. Okay, so this does not, there's no semi bold. We can write here number also 700, 500. Okay, 500 is fine. So this is how it looks right now. And what do we need else? So we need a way, we need a checkbox here to mark it as completed or not. Also we need a button here. So if we have this to do container here, and I'll write here another view, and for the button we can use touchable opacity component, and we have this add to do. Okay, so this does not look good, so we are going to style it. So I'll write here create to do button, and I can copy this and I can comment this button, and it will obviously GitHub will suggest us some code. Let's see what does it suggest, because writing this all from scratch is a very hectic thing. And we have this, so this does not look good. We are going to make this what do we say, black, and then border radius to 100%. Okay, so instead of 100 we can write here 20, and this is horizontal, and we can define here padding vertical to 20, and we can this to 30. Okay, So now we need to style the text. So I'll let it style, and I'll let it style dot button text, and I'll go down. We can write here, and to font weight we can define here bold. Okay, so this looks fine. Now we can replace add to create, and obviously we have here two views, that is to do container, and we have this. So now in the container we can define here justify content to between, and this is in the end. Now this looks fine. Now I want a checkbox, or we can say I want to add to dos here, right? And also, as you can see, while we click the opacity is too much, so we can write here active opacity, and we can define it to 0.6. This looks fine. As you can see, now it is balanced. Now for the create to do, we are going to create a different file, that is create.tsx, and we can write here rnf, and we have this create to do screen. Now we can navigate to this screen when we click on this button. So in order to do that, we can go to this layout, and instead of just returning the stack, we are going to return the stack, and in the stack we are going to have the screen. And first is that we need the index. Now in previous React Native we used to define components. Now we don't need the component, we can just name to whatever the file name is there, and it will automatically recognize our screens. Now in the name field we can write here create, and as you can see it is fine. And for this screen I am going to remove this header zone, so that will not have that header. Okay, so this looks fine. Now what we can do is while clicking this button we need to redirect it to the user to this screen. So we can wrap this inside the link component, and we can write here to and your file name. So we have this create file name, and now we can cut this and paste it here, and instead of 2 we can write here href. Okay, so instead of applying into that we can apply into this, and I think it will work fine if I'm not wrong. And also in this style we are going to apply the flex to be 1, and justify content to be center, and align items to be center. Okay, so this is not working, I guess. I don't have any idea. Like, can we try removing the, can we write a text align center, or let's just try removing style. Okay, what happens if we do this as child, and we can cut this and paste it here. If I click this, as you can see we are getting redirected. So if we try to reload this project we will be redirected to that. Yeah, as you can see we are getting redirected to this create screen. Now same way we can define here style, and we can import our style sheet from React Native. And for the container we're going to use flex of 1, justify content, we don't need justify content, but we can use background color to white. And now we can copy this style and apply into this style, And as you can see, the style has been applied. Now we can define here another style for this, like style dot header text. For the header text, we can have here this styling. This is a very simple style. So add your to do, and we don't need text align center. We are fine with this, and we can apply here some padding, by default padding. So this looks fine. And now we are going to install this React Native paper. So we have this guide here. I'm using yarn, so I'll write here. I'll just go and copy this. So I'll copy this and go to this, open my terminal and paste this. Now this will take a little bit of time. Now we have this safe area context. We need to also install this. So I'll copy this and paste it. Similarly, if you are iOS user, you have to run this too. And we also need React Native vector icons. Okay, this is the extra things if we are not Expo user. And we can install our React Native vector icons. And now this is the uses. So we have to first import the paper provider, and then we can wrap this inside the app. So let's try doing that. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to this layout and paste it, and we can use this paper provider, and we can cut and paste, and let's hope it will not give any error, but it's better to restart the server. Okay, so it's yarn start, and this will restart, and we are going to restart our application. So okay, we are not getting any error, so I think we are good to go. So this looks fine. So let's try importing this checkbox that we have. So we have this checkbox, we have the checkbox Android. We can copy this. So I'll just copy, go to this, into the index, and I'll copy this checkbox component, and inside the to do we can have this. So as you can see, we are getting our checkbox successfully. So we don't need the label, and we don't need the label. We can just define it empty, and status, what do we have, like indeterminate, unchecked. So by default it will have unchecked. Now we have this to do card, we have this justify to space between. So now what we can do is we can wrap this inside another div, so that okay, so we can just try getting rid of that. Okay, so this looks fine. And what do we have here? Okay, so we can still navigate things. Okay, so this looks good. Now what we can do is we can try first creating to-dos, later on we can implement some other functionalities. So let's build this screen. We are going to use here input, that is text input, and we have this text input component that looks like this, and into this create we can call and try using this text input. So I'll copy this, and inside we will have another view and we'll paste this. And for the state we are going to use this. So we are going to import our use state, and I think we are good to go. So as you can see, we got our, okay, we can just cancel it. How do we get rid of this? Okay, so this is something pixels feature. Okay, so now what we can do is we have some modes for the input, so that you can choose. We have this mode that is outlined, and we can use this outline one. Yeah, so this looks good. And instead of label, you can write here add your to do, and as you can see, this looks fine. Or enter to do. Also for the placeholder, do we have this? Yeah, we have the placeholder. So yeah, we have the placeholder, and this looks fine. And for the, by default, we are going to have the, firstly let's just paste this into another screen so that we will not be confused. Yeah, so what we can do is now we can start creating our to do. So we can use here our button that we had. So I'm going to go into the component, and we can define here app button.tsx, and we can just copy this, copy, and go to this RNF and paste. Now we can import this, and for the styles, the same thing we are going to repeat. Style is equal to style sheet that create, and we are going to create the button. So I'll just copy and paste, and this looks fine. Now we are going to accept some few props, that is interface, button props, and GitHub Copilot is really helping us. We are going to accept the on press, obviously. Then we are going to have a children, and what do we have more? Yeah, so this is it, and we can copy this, and we can use this interface, and we can take out our children and on press. By default it will have this, and by default it will have this. So we can use this children to paste it here, and for the on press we are going to use it on press. Now this is reusable. Now we can import, we can create here our index.ts file, and what we can do is import app button, and we can just simply export the app button, and we can go to this index. We can simply remove these stuffs, and we can import that. So I'll write here import app button. We are going to import from the components, and we can just get rid of this, and I'll write here app button create to do, and we are going to pass here an on press by default of null. And if we go back, as you can see, this looks good. Now similarly, we are going to have here app button, and on press we can write here create to do. If we go to this, as you can see, we have this. Now into this create button, we can pass here some styling, that is style dot form container, and for the form container we are going to define here margin vertical and gap of 20. So this looks fine. Okay, so now what we can do is we can start creating our to-dos from here. So if we can go back, as you can see, now we are going to change this title here. So I am going to go to this layout, and for this create, I am going to write here options, and we can write here header title create to do. And as you can see, the title has been changed. Now this looks fine. Now we can accept the input and try populating those things. So firstly, we are going to have this set to do function. We need to pass somehow to our this screen, right? So we can do this by two steps, like we have options of prop drilling, and second we can use something known as context. So if you will use context, we will not have any issues like populating things and setting to dos. So we are going to define here a context, and for the context we are going to have here to do dot context dot tsx. So we are going to write here rnf. So we are going to import here create context, and we are going to have here interface to do, and we are going to have the same thing. Now we are going to have their context type. So firstly we are having a to do's, that is the type of to do array, and we are going to have an add to do and toggle to do and also remove to do. Now that is done, we can create here our context, and GitHub Copilot is very handy to use. As you can see, we are getting the exactly same code we would have been created, and it would take us too long. And now what we can do is we can create here a provider, that is export const to do provider is equal to, and it is going to take the children, and this is going to have react node, and we are going to have this to do's. So firstly we are going to have this to do's, and this is of type to do. We can also import this use state, and we can add to do. So const add to do, and for adding we can take this string, and as you can see what it is doing, it is pre-populating the default one, and it is incrementing the length by 1, and it is putting the text to text and done to false. And now we can toggle to do, like it is if the to do has been completed or not. So this is what it is doing. So we are going to map the to do, and if it is equal to the id, we can pre-populate the existing to dos, and we are going to just change this false to true or true to false based upon the situations. Now we are going to remove the to do. Simply we are going to filter it out, and I know it is a very basic thing, and we are going to just return here the provider with these values, and now we are ready to use this anywhere. So I can just refactor this, copy, and in the layout we are going to here provide here to do provider, and we can just cut this and paste it here. Now what we can do is, instead of defining to do's here and interface here and initial to do's here, we are going to import it from our context. So we can write here use context, and also one thing we forgot is we need to also export the post context. So we can write export default, and what do we have, the context to do context. So we have here to do context, and we can write here to do context, and we can see here we have this to do's, and if we see here we will not have any to do's because there are there is no to do yet. So we can write here condition, that is if to do dot length is equal to 0, that is we can write here if to do dot length is equal to 0, no to do's found. So as you can see, and now we can style this style dot no to do text. We can write here no to do text, and simply we can write a margin vertical to 20, and this is fine. So as you can see, no to do's found. Now we can try adding the to do's. So we will go to this create, and once we hit this enter, we are going to add the to do. So we have this, we can write here handle add to do. So I'll just go up here and write a handle add to do, and if we will see that if the text is empty, we are going to simply alert the user that error, please enter a to do. And now if we go to this create to do, if it right here create to do, please enter a to do. So if this exists, we can just add to do. So we are going to import those functions that we have created in our context. So let us use context and write a to do context, and we will have here add to do. So add to do, we can write here add to do text. So I think it is fine. So let's suppose, so into to do, so let's see hello world, create to do, and if we see here, as you can see, the to do is populated, but we need some sort of message so that we know yes, the to do has been displayed. So we can write here, we can just reset the text, and then we can write here alert dot alert successfully added to do. So let's try creating one more time. That is, I'll go to this create to do and another to do added successfully. Okay, and if we go to this back, as you can see, we are getting another to do. So now this looks fine, but we need the latest to do to be up here, and we also need timestamp of when it was created. So we can go to this right here, time stamp, it will have this number, and obviously it will be an optional, otherwise it will show error. And while creating this, while creating the to do, we can do here timestamp. So we can write a timestamp and new date dot get time. Now if we refresh, we will lose all this to do data that we have right now. So I can go to this and write here hello world. Yeah, okay, so we have this right here. Now what we can do is we can create a component. We can refactor this so that we will not be changing anything again and again. From here we can cut this and simply paste this, and we are going to have here a to do, that is of type to do that we had. Similarly, we can import here type of to do. So this is not imported. So what we can do is we can go to this context and we can export this interface. So we can export to do. Okay, so now this is fine, and we can write here interface card props, and we can define here some stuffs like to do is equal to do, and similarly we're going to import this checkbox, and then we are going to import this style. So I'll write here, sometimes it is very boring, you know, to code all these things from stuff. So this is fine. Now what we can do is write here card props, and we are going to import this to do. Now if I am correct, this should have to work. So we are going to write here card and key is type of to do and to do is of type to do. So this is fine. Now we can go to this and start creating things. So we are going to have this to do and we're going to populate here the timestamp. As you can see, this is a number. So for this we are going to put this here, justify content space between. So this looks fine. Now we can format this. Obviously we can write a do date to local date string. So what is this? Okay, so we can use chat GPT to format date. Okay, so we are getting formatted, but we have some error. So we know it will be existing, so we can just write here an exclamation. So as you can see, we created this at this state, or we can also define here some times, if I remember. Okay, so this is fine. Let's leave this as of right now. And also when we are reversing this to do, what we can do is we can use the reverse, and whenever we create a new to do now, testing, as you can see, to do is added, and as you can see, it is on the top. Now what we can do is we can start having, we can just create here a button to delete the to do. So we can just press here on long press so that we can delete this. So there is this thing that exists in the view component, I suppose. So we can go to this card and we can write here on long on press. So we can't use this in view, but obviously we can use this in touchable opacity. So we can write here touchable opacity and active opacity, we will be setting this to 0.5, and as you can see, this is now touchable opacity. And now when we click on long press, we are going to delete the to do. So we can import this const use context to do context, and we're going to remove the to do. Now what we can do is when we press the on long press, we are going to remove here handle remove to do, and we are going to simply pass this id, that is handle remove to do, and we can just pass here to do dot id. Now we can define here handle remove to do and remove to do. And now once it has been removed, what we can do is we can simply show a message that alert, or still we can just first ask for the user if alert dot alert, are you sure you want to delete this to do. We can just remove this. We can simply ask for the user, so alert dot alert, are you sure you want to delete this to do, and in this we have two options like cancel and delete one. So as of now, I will just comment this out, and if I do here long press, as you can see, are you sure you want to delete this to do. So we can just press here and cancel, and when we press this delete, it will be deleted. So once this has been deleted, or just let's leave it as of now. So let's try deleting this hello world. So when I click this delete, as you can see, to do has been deleted. Now what we can do is we can just try this marking this complete or not. So what we can do is we can go to this checkbox, and for this checkbox we are going to have their state, that is, or we can just provide here an id that we created. So we have this here toggle to do. Yeah, we have this toggle to do, And firstly, we have this on press. We are going to pass this to do.id and also the status. We are going to have their status, that is to do. We are going to check to do is done, then if it is done then checked, else it is unchecked. So if we press here tick, as you can see, the to do is there, and similarly if we press here untick, the to do is not completed. And now we can just try this formatting the date time that we have. So we can go to this card, and what we can do is dot to local string. If we do this, as you can see, we can also format okay. So this is not the function, so we can write it to date string. I don't know what was that function, but let's see, to local time string. Okay, yeah, this is the local time string, and we can define here the hour and time. So as you can see, we are getting the hour and minutes. Now you can just delete this to do, and as you can see, no totals found. We can just go create to do like hello world. We can just remove here, eat breakfast, have fun. But there is one issue that you guys, if you have noticed or not, if I go to this to do context and implement a really long to do, that is, let's suppose generate really long to do list. So I think this should give us the very long to do list, and now we can use that to do's in its to do. If I copy this and paste this, as you can see, our button has been hide, and this looks this app is no longer usable. So what we can do is, instead of wrapping this into view, we can wrap this inside a scroll view. And if we save this, as you can see, we have this scrolling, so that no matter how long the list gets, it is always scrollable. And now our to do has been completed. So now we can get rid of this to do that we have, and we can use this to do app. So guys, this is it. So this was a beginner friendly video, and I know most of the codes were suggested from the GitHub Copilot. So it is very efficient to use GitHub Copilot in a day-to-day life, because efficiency, in terms of efficiency speaking, the efficiency is increased rapidly when you use a Copilot with you, and we can use this in our day-to-day life to build things faster. So this is it for this video, and I hope you have enjoyed it and you have learned something. So let me know in the comment section what else on the topics you need videos, and I will try creating on them. So if you like this video, make sure to subscribe the channel and leave a comment, and also share this to your friend who is a beginner in React Native, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.